and welcome back to Michelle Reads and Vlogs, and today we are going to look at my March TBR. But before we do that, I want to have a little chat for a few minutes, be really open and honest, and basically say that I am feeling overwhelmed by reading and books right now. So yesterday was Thursday the 29th of February, and I filmed my February wrap up, and it just seemed to take a long time. Editing took a long time. It felt like hard work. And I think the issue is that at the moment I've just completely surrounded my whole life around books and reading. And obviously I do have a other job. This is not my income. My income comes from science tuition, so teaching people science online on a one-to-one basis. So I always kind of feel that like books shouldn't rule my life. I also, I have 2 big dogs, so I spend a lot of time looking after those, walking them, just living my life with them. So my life doesn't just revolve around books, but I feel like over the past 6 months that I've been doing this YouTube channel, it's become more and more so. And I realise that from the moment I get up to when I go to bed, I'm either making YouTube videos, reading, thinking about YouTube videos, or watching other people do YouTube based on books. And yesterday I just felt like I just need a little bit of a break. So I stopped watching other people's booktube channels. I watched completely different content because I am a fan of YouTube. I love it. I love watching YouTube just whilst I'm doing other things in the background, and just to take that little step back. And I think for that reason, for my March TBR, I want to be a lot kinder to myself. I'm going to go for books that hopefully I'm going to love. I mentioned in my video yesterday, or that I filmed yesterday, that I really want a 5-star. I've only completed 1 5-star so far this year, and I need it. I need to love something rather than just like it. So in my TBR today, how I'm tackling this, just going for a few less books. I usually go for about 8 on my TBR. Today I am going for 6, and hopefully just by finding a book that I'm going to fall in love with and just taking a little bit of a step back from consuming more media focused on books, I should be okay. I'm definitely not in a reading slump or anything, I should point that out. I'm just a bit booked out. And I never thought I would say that. That's so random, but yeah. So let me know if anyone else has ever felt like this before, if you've let a hobby consume your whole life, and if you've got any tips on how to deal with it other than what I've done already by taking this little step back. But yeah. Okay, so hopefuls for March, let's get into them. So the first book that I am reading in March, I've started already. I'm only about 2 or 3 chapters in, about 30 pages. And this is an e-arc that I've picked up from NetGalley. And this is A Feather So Black by Lyra Selene. And in this book, we are following a world where magic is dying. And we are following our main character, Fia. And Fia is so strange because she is something called a changeling that's been left behind when the Queen's daughter was stolen by the Fae. So the Fae stole the Queen's daughter and left behind Lyra, who's a changeling, in her place. So she wears the princess's face and her body and her characteristics, but she is not the princess. But a hole has opened up in between this world and the other world, and the Queen obviously wants to get her daughter back, even though she's raised Fia as kind of a daughter figure in her place, like she's her daughter as well, but she's not her daughter. So the Queen wants her back. She's trained Fia for this her whole life. So along with a prince called Rohan, they go to try and find the Queen's daughter. Now the issue with Rohan is that he is actually betrothed to the real Queen's daughter, whose name I've forgotten. I can't pronounce this. E-A-L-A. Ela? I'm going to call her Ela. So Rowan and Ela are betrothed to be married, but Rowan's grown up knowing Fia, the changeling. So what's going to happen with this? I've got no idea. As I said, I have read the first couple of chapters, and actually I'm enjoying it so far. I wouldn't say it's got me gripped, it's got me hooked, but it's definitely a different story for me. So looking forward to finishing this one in March. The next book that I will also want to read in March is another e-arc on NetGalley. These are the two I've got on the go at the moment that I've been approved for. Does not come out until June, so there is a bit of a wait on this one, but this is The Love of My Afterlife by Kirsty Greenwood. And for this one, I'm going to read you the synopsis because I do not think that I could do this justice at all. It is a general adult fiction, it's romance, it's fantasy. If she wasn't found dead already, Delphi would be dying of embarrassment. She's entered the afterlife wearing the sort of pajamas you don't want anyone to see and finds herself face to face with the most handsome man she's ever encountered. And he's smiling at her. As they start to chat, everything else becomes background noise until someone comes running out of a door, yelling something about a huge mistake, and sends the dreamy stranger back down to earth. In a twist of fate, Delphi is offered a deal in which she can return to her previous life and reconnect with the mysterious man she's sure is her soulmate. The challenge, she only has 10 days to find him, 10 days to make him fall for her. Oh, and he has no recollection of them ever having met. And it says here, by Colleen Hoover, this book has it all, humour, heart and a heroine I was desperately rooting for. So I think this sounds so good. As I said, it's not out until June, so it is a bit of a reading in advance here to get my review in. But I think this is going to be a good book, or I hope it is. Everything crossed for that, hopefully, 5-star read. We'll see. Then we are on to the physical books that I want to read in March, and the first one is one of my book of the months. This was actually from November, and that is This Spells Love by Kate Robb. Interestingly, I've just seen that Fairy Loot have picked this up as a special edition. So obviously I'm not going to go for the special edition. I do not need more than one copy of this book, but I just think if Fairy Loot have picked it up, does that mean it's good? Fingers crossed. So let's have a look at the synopsis for this one. A young woman tries to heal her heartbreak by casting a spell to erase her ex from her past, but wakes up in an alternate reality in which she's lost more than she wished for, in this witty, whimsical friends to lovers debut. So I'm pretty sure that this is contemporary fiction, maybe with a little bit of fantasy because of the spell casting. So when Gemma gets dumped by her long-term boyfriend, she reacts the way any reasonable 28-year-old would, by getting drunk with her sister, her kooky aunt, and her best friend, Dax. After one too many margaritas, they decide to perform a love-cleansing spell that promises to erase Gemma's ex from her memory. They follow all the instructions, including a platonic kiss from Dax, to seal the deal. Waking up the next morning, Gemma realises that the silly spell has worked far too well. Not only does it seem that she never dated her ex, but the rest of her life is completely unrecognisable. The worst part, Dax has no idea who she is. To reverse the spell and get back to her old life, Gemma must convince her once best friend, now total stranger, to kiss her. But as she carries out her plans, she finds herself falling for Dax hard. Soon, Gemma begins to wonder whether she even wants to go back to the way things once were. What if Dax was the one all along? I just think this sounds like a fun read. And again, because I'm just trying to take it easy this month, be gentle on myself, find some good, happy, positive reads, I'm going to get into this one. Hopefully it's good. Next up, we have got a book that was apparently all over TikTok last year. I don't use TikTok, by the way, so I don't know these things. I'm a very old person. So yeah, never really got into TikTok, but this, Powerless by Lauren Roberts. And again, people are meant to love this. It is meant to be for fans of the Hunger Games, and I am a huge Hunger Games fan. Maybe I need to reread them because I love them, including the prequel Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I love it, and so many people were so like, ugh, with that book. I don't care, give me more of that world. Absolutely. So, Powerless by Lauren Roberts. The elites have possessed powers for decades, gifted to them by the plague, while those born ordinary are just that, banished from the kingdom of Ilia and shunned from society. No one knows this better than Paladin Grey, an ordinary posing as a psychic to blend in with the elites. When she unsuspectingly saves one of Ilia's princes, Kai Azir, she's thrown into the Purging Trials, a brutal competition showcasing the elite's powers. If the trials and the opponents within them don't kill her, the prince she's fighting feelings for will, if he discovers what Paladin is, completely extraordinary. Oh, I just think it's so good. I think it sounds so good. So again, I just hope that this is an enjoyable read and that, yeah, I'm going to rate it quite highly. Fingers crossed. Next is another book that was really big last year, which was How to Kill Men by Katy Brent, or How to Kill Men and Get Away with It by Katy Brent. And I've picked this one up because this was one of, why do I always forget her name? Jamie from Jamie's Library. She loved this book last year. And seeing as I'm after just a good read, an easier reads this month, I think it sounds brilliant. He was following me, that guy from the nightclub who wouldn't leave me alone. I hadn't intended to kill him, of course, but I wasn't sorry when I did, and despite the mess I made, I appeared to get away with it. That's where my addiction started. I've got a taste for revenge, and quite frankly, I'm killing it. This is meant to be a really good fun read, so yeah, hopefully I can get into this one this month. And as I said, I'm after a slightly smaller TBR this month because I don't want to feel pressured into having to read loads of books. I am going to read more by whim. If none of these take my fancy, I am going to go in to other books. There was another book that I wanted to read last month on my TBR that I didn't get around to, which was Wandering Souls by Cecile Pin. And I still really want to get to this, but I just feel like it's going to be a bit heavier and I don't want that pressure right now. So if I end up going for this, you know, I'm going to let myself, I'm not going to be hard on myself if I want to pick up another book. But the other one is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. So we all know I am a big Schwab fan, as you can see by these three wonderful shelves of Schwab here. And I know that she is currently working on book 3 for this. So you've got Vicious is book 1, Vengeful is book 2. These were written quite a while ago. So Vicious was published, if I can find the page. I love this book as well. I think it's an American paperback. It's really floppy. First published in May 2018. Or is it 2014? This Titan edition was 2018. Copyright 2014. So it might, yeah, I think it's 10 years old because the 10-year anniversary edition was released by Liplins, which I'm pretty sure I pre-ordered. So yeah, this is 10 years old. You've got Vengeful second, then you've got, yeah, she's going to work on Victorious soon. You've got the comic for it, Extraordinary, which are those kind of tall ones that I've got there. I've read that one. But yeah, I haven't read all of V. Schwab's books, and I love everything of hers that I've read. I've obviously read the Shades of Magic series, brilliant. I've read Threads of Power, which is the next one in that series. I have read Gallants. I think you can't see them, they're on the shelf above. Addie LaRue. This was my gateway into fantasy. If you're not a fantasy reader, I recommend The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue because it's kind of fantasy hidden in plain sight. But yeah, absolutely love it. So I need to get into more of her other work. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to read Vicious this year. So this is meant to be like a comic book, but in words. Victor and Ely started out as college roommates, brilliant, arrogant, lonely boys who recognise the same ambition in each other. A shared interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events reveals an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities. But when their thesis moves from the academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong. 10 years later, Victor breaks out of prison, determined to catch up with his old friend, now foe, aided by a young girl with a stunning ability. Meanwhile, Ely is on a mission to eradicate every other super-powered person that he can find, aside from his sidekick, an enigmatic woman with an unbreakable will. Armed with terrible power on both sides, driven by the memory of betrayal and loss, the arch-nemesis have set a course for revenge. But who will be left alive at the end? So potentially, people are meant to either love this or hate this. Let's hope that in my 6 books on my TBR, that there is going to be a 5-star here. We will see. And let's just hope that, yeah, I hope that I don't get into a reading slump after the feelings of the past few days, but there we go. It is what it is. So let me know, is there anything that you are dying to read this month? Let me know. Have you read any of these? Do you recommend them? Please, no negativity. I want to go into this positive, or as positive as I absolutely can. If you are looking of ways to support me and the channel, I'd really appreciate it. The first thing we can do is like the video. That helps me and the channel out so much. If you've not subscribed and you want to see more content from me, hit that subscribe button. And if you're interested in purchasing any of the books that I've mentioned today, I will leave affiliate links as always down in the description. That means that you do not pay any extra, you pay the normal price, but I make a small commission off the sale. So it is a way of helping me and the channel out. Otherwise, I hope that you have a wonderful day, wherever you are, whatever you're up to. Happy reading. I hope that your reading is going better than mine currently. And have a good rest of your day, everybody. Bye.